Remember me? I used to be somebody. I used to be a big shot. Now all my possessions fit in this tiny little bag. Oh my God, what am I gonna do with my life? Okay, Totoro, easy there, easy. You'll be alright. You're a big guy. See ya. Right, let's start. How to draw Totoro. Well, first of all, remember, a bad workman always blames his tools, but a good workman always blames his snacks. I recommend chocolate-covered coffee beans, marshmallows, and some Halloween snacks. If I'm not flying off the wall, it ain't working. Also, you're an artist now, so you might want to invest in a pipe. Magritte or corncob, it's your choice. Right, let's look at some common mistakes about drawing Totoro. Now, number one, there's no pen. So you're going to have to start with a pencil. And when you go down the pub and you think, yeah, I can draw Totoro, no problem, or you challenge someone else to it, a common mistake is to start with a perfect oval. You want to avoid that because Totoro is not a perfect oval. Also, you want to avoid drawing Stimpy because he's not that either. But a thing that most people will do is they'll draw an oval, they'll draw two eyes, they'll draw pointy ears, the little nose, the dots, the whiskers, and what they end up with is some kind of cat, some kind of cat bean, which is not to say that's bad, but it's not really Totoro. Now this is nearer the mark, but it's kind of a little bit too manic, and also it's well, the proportions are not quite right, and we'll be looking into that. Don't draw the whiskers from here, that's wrong. And again, his ears are too pointy. There are no hard lines in Totoro, so forget this type of stuff. The key to drawing Ghibli characters is to always use soft lines. Okay, so let's talk about tools of the trade. So, I'm using a mechanical pencil, pretty standard. In fact, that's all I'll be using for part 1, but we'll talk about colour later. Okay, so let's get into the actual picture. Let me grab a piece of paper. Okay, now I'm going to be as quick as possible because I don't want to go over 10 minutes. But the basic shape of Totoro is a pear shape, not an oval. So get your pear like that. Keep it loose. And don't be afraid of, getting it right the first time. Just keep your hand loose and we can erase things later. That's the beauty of pencil. Now, Totoro does not have long legs. In fact, his legs aren't very defined at all. He's just a big furry blob, really, with feet. He has got arms, but we'll sort of just hint at them down the side. It might look a bit sort of fat because of the angle of the camera. I'm sorry about that, but bear with me. Right, now, okay, so that's the basic shape, and he's got about 1 centimetre there for divide his legs. Now, around about this area, if you just want to draw a little cross there, that's your little guide. And his eyes will be sort of roughly at the edge of his head. Give him room for a brain, and away we go. So his eyes will be about that size, I guess. And the inside circle is actually quite important. You want to avoid that, because he's not one of the Simpsons, and you want to avoid drawing his eyes too small, well, because it's kind of creepy. But Ghibli characters usually have sort of a solid black dot in the center. Now, don't worry about trying to recreate a Ghibli perfect drawing,
because I'm not. You know, try and put your own style into it. Let your own style come out, but bear in mind the proportions of Totoro's head. Now, as you can see, his eyes are very wide apart, and his nose is dead center in his eyes, right? So like before, we want to avoid this kind of proportion, where we've got, it's kind of the standard Western style of drawing an animal, which is like that. Eyes close together, small dots, something. You end up with some sort of like Fritz the Cat, something like that. You want to avoid that. The Japanese proportion is usually eyes at the side of the head, big gap. Okay, now be careful when you're doing your smile not to make it too straight across. Again, that will make it look a bit too manic. If you just do it straight, it's okay, but try to put a little curve in there, just to add a bit of interest there. Draw a line directly below his nose to indicate teeth. And Totoro has got very large teeth, so make sure they're very wide. For the ears, I have to be as quick as possible because I want it to be under 10 minutes. But his ears should be sort of quite fat and not like Batman ears, sort of pointy triangles, but actually like soft diamond shapes. And they don't actually meet the lines at the top of the head. They're broken up with little sort of dashes which indicate sort of soft fur. And again, you want to keep practicing that, because his ears are actually one of the hardest things to get right. Okay, so then about a centimeter or so below his mouth, you want to start drawing his belly, as it were, and basically just a big blob like that. And then again, directly, you're following this line here, is you want to draw a Ghibli boomerang. That's what I call the Ghibli boomerang under here. Now, this varies strangely. Usually it's 3 at the top and 5 at the bottom, but it's not consistent, surprisingly. I was most surprised. I thought, you know, a character this famous, it would be very consistent, but it's not. Sometimes it can be 4 at the top, depending on the frame, the scene. And if you take this, for example, this is the simple version. He's only got 3. We've also got the medium-sized one, blue one, and mini Totoro, but we'll be coming back to that maybe later in a video in the future. So that's your basic Totoro. Now, as I said before, be careful with the whiskers. Don't start from this area, which is usual, but his whiskers would start below the eye, kind of at the edge of his mouth. And don't be too straight about it. See how I'm sort of like shaking my hand as I'm doing it to sort of give a sort of crooked look. And his whiskers are kind of crooked. Right, so that's it basically. You can do a little sort of few hairs then above his nose, and that's it. In part 2 we might talk about colour and different poses. If you have any requests or problems, let me know. Add a bit of shadow there, and there you go, you got a basic Totoro there. I mean, it's not Ghibli perfect, but you know, that's okay. You've got to add a bit of your own identity into it. But the main point is the proportions of his face and no hard lines. Okay? Alright, well, practice that. Tell me what you think. Let me know if you're having any problems. And, yeah, good luck. Enjoy cartooning. See you soon. Bye-bye.